You don't need to do dozens of exercises to build an attractive physique. If you just focus on the exercises that I'm going to show you in this video, you can build that aesthetic body quite simply. If you just get strong on these, build the muscles that they target, you're going to build that attractive physique with no extra time wasted in the gym, with no random workouts where you don't know what you're doing. I'm going to show you exactly how to train, exactly which exercises to do, and how to perform them so that you can build that attractive physique. Now, if you want one-to-one coaching from me to build that attractive physique, where I design everything for you and get that physique for you as fast as possible, then check the top link in the description. So the type of physique that we're going for is a V-taper physique, a nice shoulder to waist ratio. That's the type of physique that is very aesthetic. So we need to prioritize the muscles that are going to take us to that type of physique: the lats, the shoulders, the upper chest, and the abs. Now, the lats and the shoulders are the most important for actually creating that V shape, because obviously it starts at the slim waist and then leads into the lats, and then the shoulders, especially the side delts, top it off. The upper chest is important for getting that masculine frame, both from the front and the side. And then the abs kind of complete the physique. They don't really contribute to the V-taper per se, but they complete the physique. If your abs are not that defined, whether that's a high body fat percentage or you've not trained them well enough, you've not got developed abs, then that's going to be something that needs to be sorted out as well. This type of physique easily beats any massive bodybuilder or strongman type of look in terms of visual appeal. So if that's what you want, then you need to be training specifically for that reason. Now, shape and proportion matters more than size. That's the thing. When you can prioritize the muscles that are going to give you that attractive V-taper frame, you can be looking a lot better than people who have more muscle than you if they don't have the shape, if they don't have the proportions, if they've not prioritized those muscles that I'm going to tell you how to prioritize today. I used to be that guy in the gym doing deadlifts and shrugs and squats, but I realized quite early that this is not building me the type of physique that I want. This is not effectively training the muscles that actually lead to that V-taper physique. So it's wise to use the effort that you're going to use on those exercises, which are very taxing most of the time on your CNS as well, and actually put them towards exercises that are going to train the muscles that build the V-taper effectively and actually build you that aesthetic physique. So the first exercise that's non-negotiable for building that attractive physique is going to be the lat pull down. Now, the lats are the muscles in the back that contribute to the width. Those are the muscles that are responsible for creating that wide frame. That's why they're very important to be trained properly. I weigh 167 pounds currently, and I'm doing 225 pounds for 5 or 6 reps, I think, on the lat pull down at the moment, just to give you an idea of a decent strength level. Now, in terms of form for the lat pull down, what I see a lot is that people complete the rep and their arms are looking like this. That's not the right way to do it. To actually provide decent leverage for the lats, you need to have your wrists stacked above your elbows at all times. If you need, slide forward or back from the seat, whatever you need, but don't be, pulling all the way down to your chest and then your arms are looking like this. Pull into your chest is fine, but anywhere around your chin level, even your nose, to be honest, is going to be okay for the lats. But the most important thing is to have the wrist stacked above the elbow so that you're not doing this type of motion when you do the lat pull downs, which is turning it into, some type of weird exercise. As an alternative, when all the lat pull down machines are busy, just do pull-ups. Do normal pull-ups if you're capable, assisted pull-ups if you're not capable, and weighted pull-ups when you can do more than 8 reps with good form for normal pull-ups. For example, yesterday, I went to the gym. It was my upper day. All the lat pull-down machines were busy because I went at a terrible time. I went at 5 p.m., which is a mistake, but that's what it is. And I just did pull-ups instead. I did 55 pounds added weight. I just put a dumbbell in between my legs, and I did that for 7 reps. Now, the second exercise is going to be the overhead press, the shoulder press machine, right? This is going to be very important because it trains both the side delt and the front delt, 2 parts of the shoulders that we want to build those nice wide capped shoulders, which look very nice. Now, you're going to realize that all these exercises are performed on machines. The reason for that is that machines are more stable. When you perform an exercise that's stable, you're going to get higher force output from the muscles that you're trying to target. So for example, for a shoulder press machine, you're going to get higher force output, you're going to be stronger, your body can focus all the motor units, the mental energy, let's call it that, into actually pressing with the shoulders, rather than if you did a standing overhead barbell press, for example. You have to stabilize yourself, you have to tense your core, you have to coordinate yourself as well. These all take motor units. They take mental resources that your body can then no longer use to actually train the target tissue, the shoulders in that example, right? So that's why all the exercises that I'm going to mention are going to be stable ones. Of course, if you want to do free weights and whatever else, then that's completely up to you. But to build an attractive physique, in the most effective way possible, it's going to be machines that are going to give you the best bang for your buck. Now back to the shoulder press. When you're performing the movement, try not to use your legs too much. That's what a lot of people do. They use too much leg drive to help them lift the weight. And that usually happens when you're ego lifting, when you can't actually handle the weight with your shoulders alone. If you feel the need to use your legs excessively, like you just stabilizing yourself with your legs, putting them in position and keeping them there, but not actually tensing them hard, right? That's fine. But if you're actually using your quads and turning the shoulder press into a full body exercise, then just lower the weight so you can perform it using your shoulders alone, which is going to grow them faster. Third exercise is going to be the lateral raise. So we're going to take the front delts out of the equation here and train the side delts specifically. Because like I said, the side delts are going to be what's contributing to that V-taper physique, combining with the lats to create that wide frame, right? So it's important to isolate them a little bit further. On the contrary, the front delts don't have to be isolated any further. The overhead press, the shoulder press, is going to take care of all the front delt growth that you need, because they also are active in like bench presses and things like that in your chest movements. So you don't need to actually isolate them any further with front raises or something. But lateral raises, those are going to be necessary to actually maximizing the potential of your side delt, of the growth of your side delt. I like to perform them on the cables, and when you're doing it, try to have your arm relatively straight and then kind of scrape your hand off the ground, if that makes sense, as a cue for your form, right? Because if you start to raise your shoulder too much, and if you go above parallel with your hand as well, when you're performing the lateral raise, you're going to start to involve your traps too much, which is not the purpose of the lateral raise. Fourth exercise is going to be the incline Smith machine bench press. This is the only exercise that I recommend for the chest, either this or an incline chest press machine as an alternative. Now, this is the only exercise that I use for my chest. Like in the last 2 years, honestly, there's only been a handful of times where I've gone to the gym, I've trained my chest, and I've not done an incline Smith machine bench press. Smith machine, because it's more stable, again, you don't have to worry about coordinating the weight like you do with a normal barbell. And then incline, because we're prioritizing the upper chest. If you do a flat bench press, for example, so that's unstable, and it's also gonna start to involve more of the lower chest, which we don't really want. In terms of building that attractive physique for that masculine shelf type of look, you want to be doing basically only incline machines, big incline movements for your chest, because an incline movement for your chest is still going to train the mid and lower chest. It's still going to train the bottom half of your chest, just not to the same degree as a completely flat exercise will. And a lot of guys, most guys, like literally 99.9% of guys that I see, are severely lacking in the upper chest department. On the contrary, I'm not really lacking in that department because I have prioritized my upper chest. Like for the last 2 years that I've been training effectively, I've only done incline movements. So that's what I recommend for you. That's what I give to my clients to do, and it gets good results because, like I said, the whole chest gets worked, but the upper chest gets prioritized. Make sure that you use the bench that you're lying on as counterforce when you're doing the exercise. So instead of getting to the bottom of the rep and then arching your back and like using your legs to lift the weight, actually press your upper back into the bench and push forcefully to lift that weight. And also, again, make sure that your wrists are stacked above your elbows. On the Smith machine bench press, on any bench press, well, especially the Smith machine because it's in one line, right? It's stable. A lot of guys are actually perform the exercise like this. That basically happens when you've put your bench way too far back. If you need to push your bench forward, the bench that you're lying on, right, until your wrists are stacked above your elbows, like you actually just test it before you do the exercise. Test it so that you have proper form. You're lifting the weight and everything's in a straight line, rather than if your seating is off, you're going to start pushing the weight like in this type of motion, similar to the lat pull down, and that's not going to be effective for your chest. Now, the final exercise is going to be for the abs, and these are hanging leg raises. These are good because they prioritize the lower abs, which look quite good when you're lean, and they're easy to load once you get to that level when you can progressively overload with weight, right? Now, this is the thing. In terms of ab training, many people are under the misrepresentation that you need to do like loads of bodyweight circuits, crunches and sit-ups and planks and all this bullshit, right? The abs get trained the exact same way as every other muscles. Full range of motion, using weights when you get to that level. Just like pull-ups, right? With pull-ups, once you can do more than 8 reps, you start to use weight. With abs, with the hanging leg raises, once you can do more than 8 reps bodyweight, you start to use weight. And the most important thing is that your abs will never be visible unless you're lean enough. Once you get to like 15% body fat, you're probably going to start to see some definition with your abs, but for them to actually look good, you're going to have to be 12% and even lower than that for them to actually look aesthetic, right? Once you get to that level where you've got veins under your abs, like on the lower abs, that's when you know that you're actually lean. Now, for all the exercises that I mentioned, this is what you do. You do 2 sets, just 2 sets, that's it, for each of the exercises, and you train the exercise until failure. You do the reps until you can't do any more reps, and you train in a 4 to 8 rep range. So you use a weight. Once you can get 8 reps with that weight, you increase the weight, and then that will take you back down to like 4 or 5, and then you do it again and again. And you're gonna see that over time, your muscles get bigger like magic, right? Now, you also rest 3 minutes in between sets because your ATP, which is the energy source that your body uses for high intensity exercise, it needs to regenerate. If you only rest 30 seconds or 1 minute or even a minute and a half, you're not gonna have enough time. Your body's not gonna have enough time to regenerate that ATP, which is gonna lead to a lot worse performance on your subsequent sets, which is gonna lead to less muscle growth. So rest 3 minutes in between your exercises and in between your sets as well. I would recommend you to use an upper lower split. That's training 4 times a week. That's more than enough to get good muscle growth. Upper lower, so Monday, Tuesday is upper lower, Wednesday rest, Thursday, Friday, upper lower again, rest on Saturday and Sunday. The exercises that I've mentioned here, the most important ones for building that attractive physique, you put them at the start of your session. So you put that, for example, you put your lats, you put your lat pull downs and overhead press and lateral raise, and abs, I would actually do them at the end of the leg session because they're important for stabilizing other exercises. But for the lats, shoulders and upper chest, definitely put those at the start of your upper body session. And then for the lower days, what I do is put my arms first at the lower days because otherwise the upper body gets too crowded, and for the lower days, there's a bit more room there. So put your arms first at the lower days if you want, and just basically the muscles that you're prioritizing, put them at the start of your session. If you want to grow your shoulders the fastest, put them at the start of your upper body session. If you want to grow your lats the fastest, put them at the start. You understand what I'm saying, right? Anything that you want to prioritize, you don't prioritize it by doing more, because if you do more, if you do too much, you cause more muscle damage, which means it recovers slower, which means you can't train as frequently, which means you're going to get less muscle growth, not more, right? So anything you want to prioritize, instead of just doing like 10 sets for it, do the same amount of sets, but just put it at the start of your session. That's how you prioritize a muscle. Training like this is quite simple, and simple often gets the best results. You're in and out of the gym in 45 minutes. You know exactly what you're doing. You're not wasting time doing junk volume. You're getting the job done. You're going to the gym to do exactly what you need to do, which is stimulate muscle growth. You rest, and then you go back and do it again and again and again. 6 months, you've got a nice physique, right? Especially if you combine it with a calorie deficit. 12 months, 2 years from now, your physique is literally it's something that you can't even you won't even imagine how good your physique can get in 2 years of training effectively, right? Even in 6 months, you can completely transform the way that you look. You can completely transform the way that you see yourself, and that's going to basically be a springboard for you to get to your maximum potential, right? Because obviously muscle growth is not quick. Muscle growth does not come rapidly. It's something that takes time. A lot of people want to rush the process, but generally that ends up with you getting worse results. So allow the time to pass. The time is going to pass anyways. Just make sure that you're using the time effectively and doing everything optimally so that, you know, whatever time has passed, you're actually going to get the maximum benefit from that time and allow your muscles to grow. So make sure you're tracking your workouts, make sure the progressive overload is there. If you know you're not progressing, then just take a step back, analyze what's happening. Maybe you're not sleeping, maybe you're doing too much, maybe you're not having any rest days, maybe you're doing too many sets, maybe you're not training with intensity. That's something that I should have mentioned. You need to be training with intensity. You need to be training until failure. I didn't mention that, right? You need to be training until you cannot complete any more reps, especially for that, you know, first 6 months to 1 year where you're just learning how to train properly. And then once you've got past the level, you're a little bit more advanced. Then once you're experienced with training till failure, you can just go to that point where you know, okay, I'm not going to get another rep. I'll just stop here. That's the point that you need to be training to on every single set. Every single set that you do, it needs to be to a high degree of intensity so you can get the maximum out of your muscles and get the maximum growth, right? Now, if you do want more help to build an attractive physique from me personally, then check the top link in the description. You can apply for one-to-one coaching with me. I'll do everything for you. Program, training, diet, sleep schedule, like anything you can think of, right? I'm going to basically design your life so that you can build an attractive physique and get all the positive results that come from having that attractive physique. Check the top link in the description if you want to be sexy.